Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Vinny Costa, editor of Street Muscle Magazine and your host of the RodCAST. That's the all-encompassing car show where we talk about all things automotive. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Greg Acosta, editor of Engine Labs and the all-around tech guru. What's up, Greg?
Hey, Vinny, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I am doing very well. So today's going to be a cool episode, quick one, but fun nonetheless. Before we get into it, though, I do want to thank our title sponsor. That's Lucas Oil. Without them, we couldn't do the show. So shout out Lucas Oil. Greg, I just got back from Bowling Green, Kentucky, man. I'd never been there before.
Favorite places on earth. Seriously, Beach Bend Raceway, one of my favorite places. My very, very, very first NMRA race was at Beach Bend back in 2004, and I love that place. I mean, we've talked about Smoky Pig, right, and you didn't go.
So. No, I didn't. But Bowling Green's cool, man. I recently was working on the recap article from the event that I was attending. So just for folks at home, I was there for Holley's Moparty, right? So everyone knows LS Fest. They've been doing it for like almost 10 years now. That's one that they do in the same location, Bowling Green, out at Beach Bend. They also do LS Fest West, which has been going on for a few years out here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Then they also do Intergalactic Ford Fest out at Beach Bend. They've been doing that for a few years, and this is the second year of them doing Moparty, which is, as the name implies, an all Mopar show, right? So Plymouth, Dodge, Chrysler, what have you. And it was really cool. But before I kind of recap the show, I want to talk a little bit about my trip, dude, because it was really cool. I was talking to BJ. He's our tech editor, former editor of Wonder, and he's a world traveler, and so we were kind of just BSing about my trip, and I said, hey man, if an hour south of Bowling Green is Nashville, and Nashville is the music city, then Bowling Green's got to be Car City, USA. And he said, well, what about Detroit? And I said, yeah, all right, Detroit, but honestly, I really felt like Bowling Green was just like a car town, man. Like I saw, everything from late model muscle cars all over the road to, Fox bodies with Jag stickers all over them, and then a bunch of classic cars. There were just cars all over the road. And I'm not talking about, like Prius, like, appliance cars. Like, yeah, those are out there too. But I mean, like real car people cars, which I thought was really cool.
Now I got to ask for Moparty because when we used to go out there for the NMRA World Finals, I mean, obviously Bowling Green is a Corvette town. The Corvette Museum's there. Yeah. It's a Corvette town. But when we go there with the Ford stuff, literally it turns into Mustang Town, USA for that weekend. Was this Mopar town, or was this a little bit more of a mix of everything?
It was Mopar town, man. There was so many late model and classic Mopars there. It was nuts. And the weather was not kind to them, and they were still out there. And for Mopar people to fight the weather is like unheard of, dude. Like I'm convinced that no one in California owns a classic Mopar because I never see them on the road, like never. And I don't know. People don't like to put miles on. People don't want to drive them. I don't know what the, it costs so much to repair them if something happens to them. I don't know what it is, but Mopar people, at least here in Southern California, I don't see them very often. Not as much as Chevy and Ford, that's for sure. So out there was a lot of them, man, and they were not shy about driving their cars in the rain.
Now, did they? One of the things for the Ford thing was always going and cruising the Hobby Lobby parking lot on like Friday night because it turned into a giant, get together. Do the Moparians know about that place, or is that still a little Ford secret?
I got to be honest with you, Greg. So like the shows went late, right? So they went from like 8 a.m. to 6 or 7 p.m. on Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday everything got rained out. Everybody kind of took off early because that's when the rain got really bad. But so Friday and Saturday, you know, by the time the show was over, so get this, I got a rental car, and I was able to kind of like sweet talk the girl behind the counter at National Rental.
You sweet talking a girl? I don't believe it.
Well, you know, those days are kind of behind me, but I still try to exercise my charm, so I don't get rusty. But
I believe I've witnessed that on a couple occasions.
But so I was able to kind of, you know, schmooze her a little bit, and shout out National Rental Car, because they gave me a Challenger, right, when they were supposed to give me like an economy car, but they had some extras, so they gave me a Challenger, and it was this killer blue color. I got lucky, so I had a Mopar to take to Moparty. And I say all that to tell you that as soon as the show was over, like at like 6 or 7 p.m., I hopped in that Challenger and I smashed an hour south to go to Nashville, because I've always wanted to go to Nashville. I'm a huge country music fan, as you know. I mean, I love Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams Jr., Hank Williams. You know, just there's so many country artists that I really love, and Nashville, as everyone knows, is like Music City. So I spent most of my time when I wasn't at the show at Beach Bend in Nashville.
Okay,
so I don't know about Hobby Lobby.
Okay, so then in Nashville, did you go to the Goo Goo Cluster store?
The what?
Goo Goo Cluster.
What is that?
Oh, it's this weird little candy bar that my grandma used to get me. It's like a flattened marshmallow with chocolate and peanuts and caramel on it. And the factories, they're from Nashville, like that's their hometown.
Okay.
So there's a factory store there where you can get like anything Goo Goo Cluster. And it's apparently like right on, what's the main street? Broadway?
Broadway, yeah.
Yeah, it's right on Broadway next to like Hatch Print Show.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's right next to the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you should have known. I mean, got to go to the Goo Goo Cluster store.
I did. So I got there and I hit Broadway like the first day that I was there. I got there on Thursday night. And so like Thursday night I was on Broadway just checking it out. And this is kind of not relevant to the whole car thing, but we'll take a little tangent. So for people who have never been there, like myself, it was kind of like almost like the Las Vegas Strip at first, right? That's kind of how I interpreted it. But the more time I spent there, because everything's centered around Broadway. So the more time I spent there, I realized that the people were there for the music. They weren't there to just party and get drunk and, you know, kind of just engage in debauchery like in Vegas. It was really about the music. You know, every single one of those honky tonks was playing, you know, live bands were playing. And so every time one of those bands would finish, everyone would move to the next honky tonk. They wouldn't just hang out to continue, you know, partying, which I really liked. And then, you know, you got all the museums and, you know, you got the Johnny Cash Museum, the Patsy Cline Museum, you got the, you know, all these fantastic places, not to mention some of the best barbecue in America. Dude, I forgot the name of this place that I went, but it was, I mean, falling off the bone, just the most tender, you know, barbecue I've ever had in my life. It was amazing.
We all know my feelings about barbecue in that area.
What you like it?
Smoky Pig, hour north.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't get to go to Smoky
I know
Pig.
you didn't. I'm just saying, we all know. If I'm in that, dude, if I had a layover in Nashville, I'd be like getting an Uber up to Bowling Green.
Well, the main thing that I really wanted to try, like, you know, so I guess the really good barbecue is down in Memphis, like the known barbecue.
Yeah.
But Nashville is known for their hot chicken, right? So I wanted to have some hot chicken, and I went to this place called Hattie B's, right? And it was the most amazing chicken sandwich I've ever had in my life. After I was done, I was like, what is Chick-fil-A? Wait, that even a place?
Hattie B's, they're known for something, right? Don't they like bake a pickle into the bun or something? Don't they do something goofy with a pickle?
Hey, man.
Anyway,
what do you get when you cross an elephant and a rhino?
Elfino. I mean,
exactly. I don't know, bro. But I can tell you this, it was amazing. So for our viewers, our listeners, if you're ever in the area, if you're ever in Nashville, go check out Hattie B's. It's fantastic. Also, just check out Broadway, man. There's a lot of cool stuff going on down there. And make your way an hour north up to Bowling Green and check out the Corvette Museum, which I didn't get a chance to do because every time I wanted to go, they were already closed by the time I was done working. So that was kind of a bummer. But
well, they're probably boarded up knowing all the Mopars were in town.
Yeah, could be, man. The event overall was fantastic though, man. Even though like it got rained out on that Sunday, Friday and Saturday, it was still overcast and there were like intermittent showers. But overall, there was more sunshine than there was rain. So the show and shine was fantastic. Like I said, I don't get to see many Mopars down here in Southern California. And if you're a Mopar owner here in Southern California and you're offended by anything I'm saying, I don't know, man, drive your car more. I'm sorry, not sorry. But anyways, man, there were so many fantastic cars. There were like, ratty muscle cars. There were like concourse level restorations. There were resto mods, Pro Street, every kind of hot rod that you could imagine they had out there. And I was out there sourcing features, like we do. So I was just taking a bunch of photos, but the features that I got are actually going to go up in a video series on Street Muscle's YouTube channel. So for those of you guys who were at the show or just are interested in seeing what kind of features we're going to have in the magazine, those videos will probably come out before the actual features are published. So keep an eye out for those. We're going to start doing more of those every time I go to a show. So I hope you enjoy them. I try to get a good mix of the different styles that were there. So
now, one thing that LS Fest always has at that particular venue that I was wondering how they were going to kind of use the space is the drifting. And man, did they use that space well because my Instagram blew up with that Duke Boys stuff they were doing. That was awesome. Dude, tell me about that. Like, what was that like in person?
So I thought the same thing because the only shows that I've been to that Holley's put on have been LS Fest West, right? And the Las Vegas Motor Speedway is massive, right? So there's no shortage of space for them to do stuff like drifting competitions, the autocross, whatever. So then I get to Bowling Green and, I'm at Beach Bend and I'm like, oh, this is a much smaller venue. Like geographically it's huge as well, but like the actual asphalt, area is much smaller. So I was like, how are they going to do this? So I saw where they were doing the drifting and where they were doing the autocross and stuff. And I was like, are they going to do that jump there? All right. So it was pretty nuts. But they didn't need like a whole lot of speed to get it done. I mean, they didn't hit the ramp at 100 miles an hour. So as you can imagine, they didn't need all that much. If I had to guess, they were maybe going like 40, 50 miles an hour, but who knows? But those guys are some talented drivers, man. That was really cool to watch. So the first day was on, so the first event that they did was a chase scene, which was really funny. It was like they were kind of acting out like the scene where Roscoe Coltrane takes his, oh man, Dukes of Hazzard fans are gonna kill me.
Coltrane.
His Polara. So they take his Polara and they're chasing the Duke boys, and they had Daisy Duke with them. So she hops out of the car of the General Lee, runs over, steals Coltrane's car, and then they bring another cruiser and they're chasing him around. And then the General Lee goes up on two wheels. And so it's, driving on its side, and you guys can read the recap. I got a bunch of photos of the car on its side. Unfortunately, I didn't get any good photos of the jump, which is kind of a bummer, but there are plenty out there. So I'll probably pull some and put in the article. Anyways, yeah, so the driver's like weaving this General Lee in between the two cruisers, and it was coming like really freaking close. I was down like on the track while it was happening, and I was kind of, my hands were getting sweaty watching, dude. It was really cool. Those guys are talented.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
Every time I think I can drive, I see other people drive, and I'm like, oh man, I can't drive. To be fair, I don't know when I would need to drive on two wheels, but it would be cool to be able to do it.
I think you should take the Camaro out to a drift event.
Oh, drift? No, tires are too expensive. But I would definitely do. And and I toyed with the idea of putting a handbrake on it, but no. No, definitely want to take it to a track day though. Probably at Willow Springs. Yeah, so that's in its future, especially now that it has the blower. Oh, that thing's just, it's a handful. But yeah, the event was fantastic, man. So they did the autocross. There was a really cool CUDA out there. It was almost like AAR style, which makes sense because he'd done the Pikes Peak, and then obviously he's out there racing on the autocross. So you know, AAR is kind of, it was the Trans Am car of the day. So that was really cool. They had this like you know, not first gen, I don't even know what generation it would be, like the early 2000s or mid 2000s Charger, like an SRT 8 that had been chopped and turned into like a truck or a ute. And so that thing was out on the autocross. Oh, it was awesome, man. I think that they were doing the autocross because they wanted to showcase, because I think it was a company that made the car or makes a kit to do it, right? So I think they were trying to show off the fact that, like, hey, this doesn't affect the rigidity of the car. I mean, what better way to do that than taking the car on the autocross?
Yeah. Plus, it gets a whole lot of eyes on your stuff.
Exactly. And so there was that. Then they, you know, those same cars were part of the 3S challenge, where it's like stopping. What is the S? What did the S's stand for?
Isn't it speed stop? Speed something stop.
Slalom, maybe. Speed stop slalom, something like that. But yeah, so that was going on. Obviously drag racing, Beach Bend. So lots of drag racing going on, some killer cars out there. I saw a couple demons. I saw one of Dodge's super stock Challengers, which is like super rare. They only made 50 of them.
What do you think? So, since you've driven a demon and you got your license in a demon versus super stock, which one do you choose?
Well, the super stock is like purpose built, you know, so I would imagine it would to own one.
Yeah, like, for you, which do you choose?
Oh, a demon. Yeah, because that's more practical. You know, it's like, yeah, demon's real practical. But but it is. I mean, it's got AC. It's got, you know, the whole deal. It's basically like a pumped up Hellcat. So definitely a demon over the super stock. Although, there's so many factors to consider, right? Are we considering resale value? Because I mean, the super stock, they only made 50 of them, so it's a very, very rare car and a very valuable car.
So you're going to feel even worse when you go out there and just beat the crap out of it at a track day.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that, right? Like the devil may care in me is like, I don't give a shit, you know. I would do it, but the practical side of me is like, you're crazy, man. You could sell that and, you know, probably buy like a bunch of demons. Yeah. So so I don't know. That's a tough one. They're both very cool.
Yeah. I saw a picture of a Viper with a parachute on it.
Yeah, there was a drag Viper. Actually, I have some photos of that car doing a burnout. So those will be in the article. Cool. Yeah. Overall, huge success for the event. I gotta shout out Holley, man. Not only are they a sponsor of ours, but they're doing so much for our industry, man. You know, these events that they're putting on are like next level. You know, back in the day, it was all about you know, like the Carcraft Summer Nationals, and like you know, it's like about these magazine events that were cool, you know, and people look forward to them, but they've kind of fallen by the wayside, especially with the magazines going away, right? So you still have Hot Rod Drag Week, and you still have like these other things that people look forward to. But I think there was a void that, you know, people were experiencing, especially a younger audience who didn't want to go to a car show and bust out a lawn chair and kind of like just wipe their car down with a diaper. They wanted an interactive experience. Yeah. And Holley is doing that, and a lot of event organizers are following suit. We're seeing more autocross events. We're seeing more drag racing, burnout competitions, like interactive parts of a car show at other events. You know, which I think is really cool. So shout out to Holley, man, for just continuing that trend of make specific shows and just shows in general.
Yeah, for sure.
And they partner with media like nobody else. I mean, they had at LS Fest, the one in Bowling Green, they were telling me Blaine and Bill over there at Holley, shout out those guys. I was talking to them and they were telling me that they had like over 120 media people out at the event for LS Fest. And Brian Havens, the editor of LSX Mag, he showed me some photos. The place was so packed for LS Fest, they couldn't even drive their golf carts through. They had golf carts, but they were walking the whole time. Granted, Moparty was not that big, but this is only its second year. So, they're doing something right. That's for sure.
For sure.
So Greg, enough about me. Let's talk about you. Greg, you got to stop getting so triggered by the comment section on your Facebook, and this is your intervention. Everybody at home, if you're watching, I need your help. Drop a comment in the comment section below. Those ones you should read, Greg. But just, Greg, we're here for you. I want you to do better, man. You can't give life to these trolls. And for everybody at home, Greg's about to explain to us exactly what I'm talking about.
I gotta be very careful with my words here, because I don't think I need to drop any F-bombs or insult anybody's kin, right?
Oh God.
Yeah. So just the anonymity of the internet sure does let people say some stuff.
It bolsters their
confidence.
What do you call that? Like, how like people say, if someone's drunk, they're like, they have liquid courage. What do you call it? Like keyboard courage? Is that a thing?
Yeah, you're a keyboard warrior, I guess.
Warrior.
But it's just, what sparked all this was the video we posted to accompany the article about spark plug indexing. And in the video, starts off quick and dirty video, just showing you what spark plug indexing is and how to like line stuff up, right? Wow. Even after explaining in the video, we did some stuff ahead of time. We're not showing every step for expediency. We're just giving you the basics. 14 comments right out of the gate. Those spark plugs are only hand tight. Yes, I know. I know. I know they're hand tight. Do you really want a 25-minute video of me torquing a spark plug into a spark plug gauge and a spark plug into a cylinder head?
That's a problem though that we face, right? Like as journalists, like I think people have a tendency, and I'm guilty of this too, and I think a lot of people are, they'll like comment on something before they even watch the whole thing or read the whole thing, or just you look at the picture and the title and then bam, that's instant response. So I don't know, man.
So we dealt with that, and even after explaining this, like in the comments, I put a big long clarification thing. Look, since there's so much confusion, the first response is, but you didn't show a torque wrench. All right. And it's just people talking about things perfect example. The whole trope of tell me you don't know what you're talking about without telling me you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Tell me how much torque you need to put onto this 14 millimeter taper seat spark plug.
Well, so that's the thing that you have to deal with, that I really don't. So obviously you are the tech guru and you run Engine Labs, which is all tech all the time. That in and of itself doesn't mean anything. Just trust that if I publish something, it's been checked by quite a few different people for accuracy. Yeah, certainly. But what I'm saying is, like, you have to deal with, they say ignorance is bliss. So then what's the opposite, right? Like intelligence is, or knowledge is a curse.
Yeah.
Because, when someone's shooting off at the mouth and unequivocally, like, you have no idea what you're talking about.
And how do you politely say that? Because some people say stuff that if anybody listens to them, they're going to strip the head or the threads on their spark plug or the threads out of their head.
Yeah, that's like the dangerous part, right?
Like literally there was somebody in the comments saying, well, you just twist it until it's pointing in the right direction. Just to give you a frame of reference, to fully tighten a 14 millimeter taper seat from hand tight, you go 1/16 of a turn. That's it. And it's done. Yeah. And this guy literally said, just rotate it until it's pointing the direction you want.
Well, okay. So what about that doesn't make any sense. What if the engine's in the car? Because you did this on a bench with the cylinder head on the bench. So he, for him, what if he's working on an F body, a 3rd gen F body or 4th gen F body, with 10 extensions from the bottom, trying to, change his spark plugs. What's he going to do then?
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is, amidst all the crap going on in the comments, there's real questions and people making valid points. And it's like, how do you address them? Like, there's so much chaff. How do you get to the, there's so much noise. How do you get to the signal? Like,
yeah, that's a problem because, dude, think about like the days before Facebook forums. Well, even now, I guess, even on there, how much misinformation was on there? Like people like acting as experts when, man, that's a easy way to like break your car. And then,
I mean, and that's why there's so many jokes on the internet is I'm just doing what the guy on YouTube told me to do, and the thing is, it's so annoying because, and it wouldn't be annoying if I had actually done something wrong and they were pointing it out. I'd take my lumps because I deserve them.
Yeah.
But it's like, why are you ruining my comment section with your ignorant comments? It just drives me up a wall. And you're right.
So what do you do? I mean, like outside of, posting a bunch of comments like in response to these guys, I don't know, what can you do? I
mean, I had to post a response to be like, look, hopefully people see it, because you can't pin responses on Facebook, right?
Right.
I'm not going to go through and delete comments. That's not cool. Like, that's just not okay. So you got to just post a single response and hope people don't just twist them until they're pointed in the right direction. Please don't do that. And it's funny because I mean, just there's people who clearly don't understand what they're talking about, not afraid to just shout from the rooftops.
Well, it's I think it was Bukowski who said, and the problem with the world today is that fools are full of confidence, and smart. I'm summarizing here, but smart people are full of doubt, and so it's those confident fools who speak out, and the intelligent ones are quiet.
Yeah, and the worst part is, like, this article was in, we worked with Brisk, so I feel like I have a duty to Brisk to not let the comment section turn into a complete shit show, and it's like, crap, then I look bad to them. Well, I don't think I did, because
no, that's a tough one, because like, how do you navigate that, right? Like, you want to be the steward and you want to help people and give them the correct information, but at the same time, like, you don't want to censor people. But like you said, how do you explain to people, like, no, you're wrong, and like, and this is why?
How do you get them to listen? How do you get them to listen? Like some of the people that just said blatantly incorrect stuff, no matter what I say to them, they're gonna come back and be like, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, okay.
Well, like, okay, so that's kind of ridiculous, because in the days of old, I know this to be true because I own many of those issues of like old Hot Rod and Carcraft and all these, and people would write in and say, hey, you made an error here. Mm-hmm. Right? And so, and the editor back then, the following month's issue, they would have responses to those people who had written in and said, no, actually, we didn't make a mistake here, and here's why. And they would explain it, right?
I remember those. I mean, and you know what? Sometimes when in print, you printed the wrong thing. Yeah. I've had to fix that, a couple times in print. Everybody
And
makes mistakes.
and that would be it, right? Like, okay, so they issued the response, like, hey, that's it. But now it's like, you're stuck in this kind of like loop where it's like, no, you're still wrong, and here's why. And it's like, look, man, at some point we got to agree to disagree, even though like you're going to end up breaking something. I guess you got to just let people do that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the hardest thing, is sitting by when something is wrong and having to just, okay, have fun. Your car, not mine.
Yeah, I always say that, man. Some lessons are harder and more costly to learn than others.
Yeah.
So,
and it's just, and the problem is I just don't react well, because I have to put on my professional hat and not engage the way I'd like to, and not match their energy.
Well, remember, Greg, pride cometh before the fall, as the good book says. So for those people who are like too bullheaded to listen or consider what you have to say, I guess it's just, you gotta, that's how you can sleep at night. Just know.
And I will tell you this, anybody listening who actually hears me or sees me ever put something wrong out there, I will absolutely listen until you say something like, you're a I gotta beat that. Oops. Until you resort to the insults and I mean, because the thing is, dude, like you said, the doubt, dude, I'm always worried that whenever I put anything out into the world, that
I remember when I first started doing this job, dude. When I first started doing this job, I was like so worried about publishing like anything on Facebook, not let alone the magazine, right? Like I would like quadruple what's after quadruple?
Septuple.
I would septuple check everything, right? But at some point, like, hey man, we got a job to do. We're cranking out content. So it happens, whether it's a typo, whether it's, a comma in the wrong place, like whatever, man. Mm-hmm. If you're really combing through my stuff, thank you, first of all, for reading. And second of all, I'm not infallible. I'm wrong about a lot of things. I learn something new every day, and that's the mark of somebody who cares about what they're doing. So for me,
dude, when you stop learning, you stop living. Seriously, like,
yeah,
if you're not learning, then your life's over. I mean, you may be literally breathing and your heart's beating and your brain is functioning, but you're not living. If you,
man, it's an important part of what we do, right? Like you've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for a little while, but I have everything to learn, man. And when it comes to this stuff, I have no. I do have a little bit of an ego, like everybody does, right? Like it's impossible not to. But when I'm sitting in a room and I'm listening to, like someone like you or Billy or Jeff,
don't even mention me in the same breath as Billy. Jeez.
Well, you know what I mean? Like someone like I call you quite a bit while I'm working on things, just to run stuff by you, because 9 times out of 10, if I'm unsure about something, you present me with an alternative, method to get where I want to go. Or sometimes you just reassure me like, yeah, that's good. And so, I can be wrong. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, and that's I think everybody on the internet wants to prove the magazine's wrong for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if Jeff Smith had to deal with this. Like, I wonder if he just got like written letters like, you're an idiot,
I think they got so many letters, dude. That's probably why they started to respond to some of them, like, like just to kind of scratch that itch that you're talking about, set some people straight. And I think also too, like some of them are just ridiculous. Some people just, talking mess for no reason. And some of them, are probably legitimate. Like they have, a good point. Maybe they're on the right track and they're like getting somewhere, but they're just a little wrong. So you got to just correct them and explain why.
Yeah. And I will tell you right malicious. Now, with what's going, with that particular thing, everybody that's actually discussing the value of indexing spark plugs, they have brought some really good arguments, against it, like why they think it doesn't work. You can't argue with their logic.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I can do is actually test it, and we'll see what happens. Like, like you make a great point, but you have the same amount of actual factual evidence to support your argument as someone saying it, builds 20 horsepower right now. That's to say we don't have any dyno evidence that we have performed.
I wonder if I wonder what merit there would be in doing an article series exploring some of those often disputed, quote unquote, like facts or methods of doing something in the car world, like like
straight up myth busting.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like, but some things that are just, some people do them, some people don't. Thinking I think there's one when you're changing oil. What's something when you're changing your oil that some people do, some people don't do, and there's kind of no right or wrong answer. Well, perceived no right or wrong answer. I'm thinking of, for some reason I'm drawing a blank, but it has something to do with changing your oil.
Yeah, don't put Loctite on your oil filter threads.
Yeah, definitely don't do that. But I can't remember. It'll come to me after we're done recording.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's a lot of those.
Pretty cool.
And there's a lot of like wives' tales. Like, I mean, the perfect one is that synthetic oil will make your car leak.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that was based in reality back in the 1970s. It's not anymore because they fixed all that. But in the 70s, it was real. It really did.
Yeah, I mean, the tolerances on those engines were a lot different than those of today.
Well, yeah, and the synthetic oils didn't have an ingredient in them that made the seals swell to seal. So there was no actual sealing happening, so they leaked. That's all been fixed now. But that's one of those myths that just keeps going. It's pervaded all the way into 2020, well, 2021 now, when it hasn't really been an issue since the late 70s.
Yeah. What about all the horsepower you gain by flipping your air cleaner lid? That was actually proven to be correct.
I would love to actually have a stock-ish car and test it so we could get actual power numbers. I think
Jeff Smith tested that.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, because at the end of the day, who cares if it makes power? It sounds cool. Like, honestly, some things you just do because they're fun. Like, and that's part of the automotive spirit, right? And I honestly think indexing spark plugs may fall into that. That's something that people like to do so they feel and they know they've done everything possible to have the best running engine possible. Does it really help? I mean, if I had to give a very candid guess, my guess would be the power difference it makes would be within the margin of error for repeatability on the dyno.
Right, exactly.
That's my guess. And that's my real honest guess. I'm still going to test it. We're going to test it.
Yeah.
But I don't expect to make 5 or 10 horsepower from it. At least not in anything we're working with.
That's why I've never worried about it, because it's like, the difference is going to be negligible. But you're not going to tell me that it's, you know what I mean? Like, anyways, I think, listen, man, I think you're going to have to just grin and bear it and tough through the trolls and just respond to the people who offer something of merit. And, that's my best advice.
And I mean, it really upset some people. Like, one guy was so upset that he commented multiple times. They're only hand tight. You're not tightening them enough. They're only.
All right, watch the whole video, man.
Yeah. But I get it. But and I'm wondering, and as I've thought about this, I've started to wonder: are these people that have only ever had like crush washer flat, seat plugs, where you do rotate them almost a full half turn? Like, that's why in their head, I mean, maybe they really don't understand that with the taper seats, they don't really rotate once you torque them. And the fact that you're not torquing, and torquing them 7 to 10, foot pounds or pound feet.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really don't know why it just annoys me so much. And now
That's
we've just given everybody my kryptonite. So the comments are going to be full of it now. It's going to be great.
Good. It'll give you something to do.
Yeah,
as if you don't have enough. Well, look, man, it comes with the territory, I guess. I used to have like, he kind of stopped, but I used to have this guy who would comment on like every article that we wrote on Street Muscle. Just always had something smart to say, man. And he was like, it was so funny because he was the biggest Buick fan, and like he loved the Buick. I think he used to own one. In the comments, he used to talk about it. A stage one, right? Like a Buick GS. And so anytime we would publish anything besides a Buick, he would just talk crap about it. Like if we posted a Camaro, he'd be like, "Oh wow, another Camaro. A Buick GS would smoke that thing." And we're like, "Okay."
It's funny that you may have one of those because Randy at Chevy Hardcore and I actually shared the same guy.
Oh really?
Yeah, and to the point where he was such a regular, shit poster.
Yeah.
That he stopped for a while, and I genuinely became concerned that something had happened to him. Because he was so regularly there.
Yeah.
Just always there. And then he disappeared for like 3 or 4 months. And then he popped back up, and I'm like, okay, he's fine. But it's really weird how we get some of those guys. And, I often wonder, is that just their way of communicating with people?
I kind of appreciated it after a while. I was like, wow, he's really reading all the articles we published. Thanks, man.
Yeah, this guy did not read articles. He read headlines.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Well, no, this guy, he was like, he would talk crap, but he would like, it would be specific, like to the whatever vehicle or article that we wrote. And it would be like, oh, well, if he would have used Mickey Thompson's instead of M&H, he would have got a better ET. And this, like, what the heck are you talking about, dude? Like,
well, what's really funny is we also had, I don't really want to group him in with that because he wasn't like a shit poster, but he always had something to say, in the articles. And it was always very, very intelligent. And I actually reached out to him and asked him if he wanted to freelance. Because I was like, what you're talking about. Yeah, you take a pretty, argumentative stance usually, but you know what you're talking about. Do you want to write? And he was like, no, man, I don't have enough time for that. And I'm like, well, maybe if you stop posting on the internet so much, you'd have some time to write some articles for me.
Arguing with strangers on the internet takes quite a bit of time.
But it's all kinds. And I would have loved to have, onboarded him as a freelancer.
Yeah.
At Silver Sport Transmissions, we believe classic cars and trucks look their best on the open road, and four-wheel drives belong on the trail. We continue to innovate and develop the best overdrive transmission packages for muscle cars, street rods, classic trucks, and four-wheel drive vehicles. Our commitment to customer service and integrity is second to none. When the wrenches begin to turn, Silver Sport Transmissions is there. Hit the trail with Silver Sport Transmissions.
Well, Greg, as we kind of wrap up today, how about we take a moment and just talk about what you have coming up for Engine Labs, and what we have coming up for Street Muscle. I'll let you go first.
All right. Well, since I think, are we a little ahead on this? Yeah. So we'll have a cool deal from Mark Gearhart on Coyote Gen 3 heads. And specifically a set of Gen 3 heads that were ported by Tim at NPR.
Okay.
He dyno tested them and they made pretty good power. It was a pretty cool little look at the Gen 3 head, and especially to hear Tim's take on it, where he said if it wasn't, for the direct injection, and if it was a direct bolt on for Gen 1 and Gen 2 Coyotes, they'd probably be the killer Coyote head.
Okay.
And when you think about it, there have been some pretty amazing Coyote heads. So I think that's pretty high praise.
Yeah, cool, I would say.
Yeah, cool article. Because I didn't realize the Gen 3 heads were so different. And when I say so different, read the article, you understand what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
It's not just the direct injection bungs, right? And then what else are we going to have? We're going to have a tool of the month coming out, which is, you might laugh because it's not an expensive part, but it's one of those parts that just makes life easier.
Okay.
It's a set of Summit valve train organizer tools.
Okay.
Man, those things, I've used them on quite a number of articles before I even published this. Like these things are awesome, worth their money.
Nice.
Worth their money. And then I think that may be it for new articles by the time this comes out.
Okay. Very cool. On Street Muscle, I just got done publishing a feature. It'll still be up on the site by the time this episode goes live. Man, so this guy's car was my editor's choice award at the Street Machine Nationals in St. Paul, and it's the most gorgeous second gen pro street Camaro you've ever seen, and it's got a fantastic story about the guy and his dad, his late father. And yeah, Greg, have you ever, like, I don't know, I worked with someone and asked them to hold a flashlight, or have you ever been on the other end of like someone asking you to hold a flashlight and then get scolded for like not doing it right?
Of course.
Yeah. So
Didn't we all like?
Yeah, I think that was kind of the point of the story for me, and that's where I was able to relate to Scott, that's his name. I remember growing up working with my dad, not even just on cars, like whether he's like working under the sink at home, or we were rewiring the dash on the Firebird or something. Always being that kid holding a flashlight. That's the first job you're given, right? Like the first, a little bit of responsibility that you have. And invariably I would always like get distracted or like mess it up. And like, like the flashlight's over here with me and I'm looking at a bug or something. He's like, hey, what the heck's going on over here? So anyways, I really related to that. And Scott and his dad did that for decades, well into the time that he was a grown man, and his dad and he were building that car. And the result is something incredible. It's a story that I think everyone can relate to. So go check it out.
That color, by the way, is gorgeous.
That's a factory color, if you can believe that.
Is that factory original paint or is that new paint?
No, it's been repainted, but okay. But yeah, factory color, gorgeous.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Yeah, so that's up. Also, we have a new Rob's movie muscle, where he takes a look at this really cool, like ratty looking 442 from the Netflix movie Sweet Girl, with that guy who played Aquaman, Jason Momoa. So he picked the car for the movie, like the actor Jason picked the car for the movie, and it was supposed to be like a real blue collar kind of car. And so he picked the 442. So get this, dude. I don't want to spoil the article, but I'm going to, at least this portion of the article. So they find a concourse level 442, and they airbrushed it to have patina inside and out.
I don't think anything gets more Hollywood than that.
Right? Like, at least they didn't crash the thing, but still, like, what? Why not wrap it?
I mean, and that's the thing. At the end of the day, your car is yours to do whatever you want with, but come on.
Yeah.
Like, you paid the money, you can do what you want if you're a studio, if you're a person, whatever, but still, come on.
Well, so this guy Momoa, right? I don't know if they're fans of him out there, but
I mean, you better watch what he say. He's a pretty jacked dude, right? Like,
anyways,
I'm just saying, like,
that's what I hear, but I don't know. But so listen, this is the same guy that was gifted a brand new at the time Harley Davidson Softail. When they launched the new Softail in like 2018 or 2019, they gave him a brand new one, right? Brand new. He uncrates it, and the first thing he does is rattle can the whole thing black with a can of spray paint, right? Sprays over like beautiful brand new paint from Harley Davidson, rattle cans the whole thing black. So it's like,
why?
Cool, edgy, oh wow.
Wait, so did he do it for shock value, or did he do it because he genuinely likes that look?
I think he did it because he felt he probably had to do something, because Harley was giving him this Harley, and what's he gonna do? Uncrate the thing and just look at it and be like, wow, thanks, Harley? No, he has to be Hollywood and spray paint the thing. So okay. So same guy, has this concourse level restored 442 airbrushed with patina. Yeah. Anyways, the article is really cool, so go check it out and give it a read. You guys know Rob; he's been on the show dozens of times, so you know what to expect from him. Just fantastic work. Also, by the time this airs, we will have Rob's other column up, which is Rare Rides, and I'm not going to tell you guys what car it is because it's really cool, and you guys are really going to love it. But I will say that it's from the Arrowhead brand. And that's all I got to say about that.
Oh, so it's not the BMW Isetta?
No.
The Urkel car?
Oh, was that a BMW?
Yeah, BMW Isetta, I believe it is.
With the open door?
Front, yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. No. No, it's something much cooler. Yeah, all I can say is it's from the Arrowhead brand. So be on the lookout for that. So that's what we got coming up for Street Muscle and Engine Labs, guys. While we're wrapping things up, I do want to take a moment and thank all of our sponsors. That's Performance Distributors, Pro Charger, ARP, Liqui-Moly, Silver Sport Transmissions, Holley Performance Brands, Optima, Performance Online, and of course our title sponsor, Lucas Oil. Without all those brands backing us, we wouldn't be able to do the show. And without you guys at home watching our episodes, we wouldn't be able to do the show. So thank you. Greg, appreciate you coming on and hanging out with me, man.
Yeah, dude, anytime. You know that.
Well, you're right, but not just anytime. Next week at noon, same time, same channel. Hit that like, comment, and subscribe button for us, guys. We'll check you next time. Peace.